Welcome back to another version of the Deep Three. I love this picture behind me. This was one of the favorite things that we instituted this year, this bang the drum concept that connects former players or really important campus constituents with our current team members, and then doing it in front of the student section with the 54th Airborne just sitting there. As we continue to grow this tradition moving forward, I think it's going to bring great energy and really show the uniqueness of what Hawk Hill is all about. So thank you, one, to Rob Sullivan and Jasmine Kennedy, who from our marketing area and athletics did a great job of taking this to a higher level. And for all our alums that have come back and wanted to be a part of it, we're excited to do this in the upcoming season. And thank you to everyone that is following this series and is giving us the questions. We continue to need your input. We're running out of them. I read all of them, so just keep them coming. Some we use, some we don't use, but I do see them. And we're going to try to be as transparent as possible. I hope everyone also enjoyed the little trivia when we flipped it on you guys and asked you to give us your favorite games that you've seen St. Joe's play live. I hope you enjoyed your Zoomcast with John Bryant and Dwayne Jones. We've got more of those coming. So just thank you for really your passion for the program. We can feel it. The feedback helps us. It inspires us. It elevates us. So please continue to send in questions. Nothing is off the table. Some stuff we can use, some we can't. There's some things that by NCAA rule we're really not allowed to talk about in a forum like this, but we can get around it with some of these things that you guys are asking. So thank you very much. First question today comes from Rocky via Twitter. How are you supporting players during this uncertain time? And how has this change of pace affected you and your family? That's a really good question. Thank you, Rocky, for taking the time to answer it. The stuff with the family is probably no different than what everybody else is experiencing right now. I mean, I'm sure it's caused some headaches, a lot of time just being inside each other. I've got 4 boys. We got to make sure they don't cannibalize each other. But really, there's been great value. We've missed out on some things. There was a spring play that one of my sons was going to do. We've missed out on some things like AAU basketball. We're going to miss out on a live 8th grade graduation. So there are a ton of opportunities that were there that are real for families. You look forward to these milestones, and we have not been able to do them. But we've learned values in other ways: bike rides, Uno games, good connections and talking to each other, sitting around and watching just a television show together and learning without having to make sure we get out and be somewhere on time. A lot of driveway one-on-one, some sitting out in the backyard, just different projects that we've taken on, chances to look at pictures. I mean, these are all really cool things. I know personally for me, watching my wife Alicia's capacity for what she does on a day-to-day basis has really been inspiring for me. I mean, she's obviously knows what I do on a day-to-day, but just to watch all the different things that she has to juggle to help our children and really help me on a day-to-day has been truly cool, different. Definitely nothing that I know I could do. So thank you to my wife for doing that. I'm sure a lot of husbands probably feel the same way. The second part of your question, Rocky, is good. How are we supporting our players? One, the NCAA has really handicapped all sports in terms of what we're allowed to do. We cannot make them work out. We can't do anything live for them. We can't have our strength coach, Eric Lang, who's an absolute beast at what he does, do anything with them live for a lot of different reasons. We don't need to get into it. So I've really thought about where are they at mentally and how are they in terms of their spirit. That's what's most on my mind. And I've looked at this as a great chance to support them with connecting. I'm talking to them a lot about what are they majoring in and why did they choose that? Because this really for them is the first time they've never had basketball. I mean, anyone that comes to St. Joe's to play basketball is like a highly ambitious hoopster. So their whole life has been driven towards being a great basketball player. And for the first time, they have to think about other things. So I've used this as an opportunity to say, hey, this is what life is going to look like for you at some point. No chance to go work out or play hoops. So let's give some deep thought into what we're majoring in and what we want to learn. The bar has to be way bigger than just being eligible and graduating. It's like, what does that education look like for you in a decade or a dozen years from now? And I've had some great conversations with different people on campus about some opportunities because we have such an incredible institution that has a lot to offer our student athletes in terms of their academic development. We're sending them videos to watch themselves. We're sending them different articles to read. We do have a host of individual workouts that they can just take on their own and go out and do in their driveway, or if they have access to a court right now, if they're allowed to do that. And that's how we support them. We just be there for each other. We just constantly build connections. It's just, for me personally, as the head coach, I do not want to burden them with like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. Instead, I want to use this as a chance to go inside, touch their hearts, grab them, connect with them, be with them, understand them a little bit, learn them. And all that, to me, this is how I was raised, leads to ultimately winning. So I care way more about what's inside them than I do about driving them to some outside goal right now. Rocky, thank you so much for that question. That's a great one and a deep one. That's why we call it the Deep Three. All right, our second question on this week's version of Deep Three comes via Instagram from Carol Patriot. Okay, this is interesting. I'm looking forward to this one. Which recruit do you predict will have the biggest impact next year? Wow. We got a lot of different players, a lot of new players. So I don't know how, if I can say like what one person will have the biggest impact. I can share with you where I think they will impact, and they're all kind of unique in their different ways. And I'm going to talk about the guys that even were sitting out. With Greg Foster, we just feel that he's going to add an element of athleticism with and without the ball on offense and defense that we need, that you desperately need to win in a high major conference like the Atlantic 10. He provides leadership, he provides composure, and we're excited about that. He's gotten better as a jump shooter over the time that he has been here, done some great work with Coach John Griffin. We worked a lot on his pick and roll decision making. He's changed his body, but I just think the energy that he will give us on and off the ball from an athletic standpoint, both on offense and defense, and his leadership will be incredible. He's just got such a great spirit. We can't wait. Dahmir Bishop is going to provide a lot of dynamic use offensively. He can score with the ball and pick and roll. He's a great player in transition. He makes tough shots. So we're looking for him to just be a guy that can go and create something when nothing is there, which happens a lot in the game of basketball. As much as you work on offense, sometimes the defense just does not agree with you, and you need that help. Defensively, he's a guy that can just use his length and be intelligent with his gambles, but create chaos on the defensive end of the floor. And we need that too. We were not great this year in terms of turning people over. Some of that was the scheme. Some of it was personnel. Some of it was just not knowing where to be all the time, which is all stuff that happens with a brand new team and a brand new coaching staff and maybe a slightly different philosophy. But Dahmir just does that inherently. So we're excited about that. Anton Jansen is going to be like the security guard for us. He's a bruiser. He protects everybody. He's more skilled than meets the eye. He can actually shoot the ball from three. We're going to keep working on that. He can handle the ball and get to dribble handoffs and do some things off the dribble, a little bit like you saw Anthony Longpre doing at the end of the season. But what we need right away is his physical presence, because he can do that while his skill set continues to develop. So physical presence in terms of protecting the paint, defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, screen setting, running the floor. We're excited about that. Some of the new guys that are coming in, Jordan Hall. I've coached a lot of basketball. I've been blessed to be at a lot of different levels. I say this without any hesitation. Of all the players I've either coached or coached against, I put Jordan Hall as a passer somewhere between the top 5 to 10 that I've ever seen. I think he is amazing. And that was what I noticed when I studied him on film last summer and then saw him live. I went to that NBA Players Association camp where the top 100 players were. Jordan was not at that, but I felt like if Jordan was in there, he would have been one of the best passers, if not the best passer. He's just an incredible decision maker. His ability to pick off a corner as a weak side rotates and hit the opposite side is amazing. He gets rid of the ball seamlessly in transition. He can pass with his back to the basket. So we're just looking for him to provide opportunities for other guys to get shots as he learns how to score at the collegiate level, which will be new for him. But we're going to play him at 5 positions. So we're excited about that. Jadrian Tracy, who we brought in late, is a high-level athlete, like very, very high level. So as you think of some of the guards and wings that have taken place on Hawk Hill, 2 of the great ones are standing behind me right now, and Tashi Carr and Dahmir Bishop. Well, that one was great. I don't know how to do it. How do I get to Dahmir? There he is. Dahmir, we know he's going to be great. Trying to figure out this Zoom background. Jadrian, Bam is his nickname, is at that level. So we think defense right away. Can he bust through screens and create steals? Can he switch 1 through 4? Can he get caught on a 5-man and get in front of him? What can he do on the defensive end? And that's where we see his impact. He's a ball mover on offense and a straight line driver. We call those stampedes, and we think he can stampede and get to the rim, and then we got to work on his decision making. So all of those new guys are going to have an impact in a lot of those areas that I just mentioned. So hopefully they all add up to having one huge impact for St. Joe's basketball. Great question. Thanks. Okay, question number 3 this week via Facebook from a gentleman named Jack. Says, with your focus on the importance of the three-point shot, how do you teach or implement that during practices? Jack, that's a great question. I've coached under some really, really great coaches in terms of player empowerment. Herb McGee, my father was the same way. I think that's the very first coach I've ever really worked under. Worked under Jay Wright, worked under Brett Brown, coached with Speedy Morse for a year. These guys did a great job of empowering players to feel confident and comfortable taking shots. And really the torture that I go through as a coach, what a lot of coaches go through, is like, how do you empower guys? Because you want them to be confident and not hesitant out there, with the balance of taking a good team shot. That is torture for a coach, and there are many times that I walk that line. I'm sure it doesn't look great all the time, and I recognize that. There's times I watch film and I have to pause it right at the point of the shot and say, was that a good one? Was that a bad one? And you don't want to get into like good cop, bad cop a lot, because the guys normally want to please you, and you don't want them hesitant. So it takes time to teach them the value of the ball will come back around. And I've actually worked a lot this off season right now while I've been sitting at home at like different ways I can teach them how to see that they will get that shot at another time. So we're going to continue to work on that. The way we practice it often is we're not like hunting threes. Like that's all we want is shoot threes. Now we tell our guys every game, I'm going to be honest, we want between 30 and 40 threes. Never in my mind do I think we're always going to get 40. It's the mentality. It's the mentality, because we don't run a ton of plays for three-point shots. Occasionally we'll do it when the game needs it. But what we try to do is attack the paint. And any good defense at this level is going to protect the rim. So now it comes down to what kind of shot do you want? So we like to go from the paint to great. Like that's what we call it, paint to great. Can you get into the paint and kick it out for a great shot? And now that guy's got to receive the ball and decide on a rotating defense, do I go from good to great? And these are the things that we talk about all the time. So the importance of the shot is more generated off of spacing, and then teaching our players when they get into the paint to make the right decisions. We work on drills all the time on decision making. We play 5-on-4. Sometimes we put 4 defenders in the paint and make them rotate. Sometimes we play 4-on-5. We put 5 defenders in and around the paint. So they have to keep moving, keep passing, keep cutting, keep driving until they find the open shot. And if a layup results on that because you make the defense spread out a little bit to take away the three-point shot, that would be great. So that really, the importance of it for us and the value that I personally put into it is the spacing and what I think is the inherent duress that it puts on a defense when you have it. Now, what we have to do a better job, and this just comes with maturity, this comes with understanding, this comes with time, and time takes time. So we have to allow this philosophy to kind of evolve and develop a little bit, is we don't have to take the first one. All right, we just need to take great ones. And if by looking for great ones, we end up with higher quality shots in and around the rim or in lane pivots, like we like to call them, or we generate fouls to get us to the free throw line, that would be awesome. So hopefully we'll continue to see some three-point shooting that goes in, right? But also hopefully we continue to see growth in our patience while keeping our pace going at the same time. Jack, that's a wonderful question. You are very knowledgeable, no doubt. Thanks for asking it. Hope everyone enjoyed this week's version of the Deep Three. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay well.